Welcome back to the StarCraft 2 World Championships. And it wouldn't be the StarCraft 2 World Championship without the Zerg player in the red. I give you the 2022 World Champion, the finisher. It's Serral, up against the rank 1 Protoss player in the world. He might not be the player we deserve, but he is the hero we need right now. The best and possibly last hope for Protoss at this stage of StarCraft 2. Facing off a best of 3, the IEM Katowice 2023 group stage. And let me draw your attention over to the mini-map over there in the bottom left. Now let me draw your attention back to the bottom right, where you can smash the like button and subscribe, because you're not going to have too much time. Chrono Boost on the Proxy Gateway Adept from hero. I think Serral, already looking at the Cyber Core, maybe a little suspicious. I have never. This is like a Max Packs build. Does Serral know? Has he seen this before? He's kind of looking around. Serral is clearly suspicious right now. First Adept comes in. Shade finds its way into the natural. Serral scrambling back with the Zerglings, because that Adept is not supposed to be here right now. Serral can do some basic math. Maybe not geography from what we've seen, but some basic math. And that Adept should not have been able to get across the map in that amount of time. It's just simply not something that should happen. So clearly there's another gateway out on the map. 3 Adepts already. Jimmy, please. I need to see what's going on. The only thing that's going to be damaged, well, at the end of this, it's going to be more than emotional damage as the Adept shade in to the natural. Past the natural into the main. Queens on the edge of their creep, marking their territory. Unfortunately, their territory doesn't extend to the edges here. Brenda! Not able to chase the Adepts down, and honestly doesn't do too much on its own anyways, but 3 Adepts into the natural, 1 picked off by Zerglings. Metabolic boost, still a long way from finishing here. There's 2 more Adepts in the main. Hero starting things off early with this kind of piecemeal Adept aggression designed to keep Serral busy, keep that drone count down, but I feel like this is a double-edged sword here, as Hero is kind of forced down the Adept road and doesn't really have anything but glaives as a follow-up. Of course, if you're able to get critical damage with the initial Adepts, then really you don't need much of a follow-up besides more Adepts. But if your opponent adapts to your Adepts, then your Adepts can't adapt easily to them. So Serral picking off 1 more, kind of got wind of the situation past the beautiful water feature, the fountain, but nothing to stop the stream of Adepts at the moment. Okay, things slow down a little bit as Hero realizes between the Queens, the Zerglings, not going to be able to send those Adepts in quite yet. Glaives are on the way. I'm sure Serral has his suspicions based on the fact this continues warping in. Zerglings get a half surround, but the staircase allows the Adepts to slip away with their shades. More sliding up. Another group of Zerglings. Serral kind of caught on this ramp here, trying to get us around, but the beautiful position. I gotta point out how this pylon is essentially walled off by the gateway. Almost impossible for the Zerglings to kill without dealing with the gateway outright. And with resonating glaives completing, those Adepts are going to be that much better at slicing through the Zerglings and drones alike. Well, really everything. It's just a 45% increase in attack speed. So, but of course Adepts are particularly great against those light units. Zerglings still looking for a counterattack. Forge on the way. Robo. Conspicuously no 3rd Nexus yet for Hero, though he is adding on more probes. Serral sitting on 35 drones at the moment. 3rd Nexus going to be delayed even longer as Serral with the counterattack. Adepts, 3. Shade in with the reinforcements. Murder a Queen. I'm not sure who the choke point helps more in this exact position. Immortal, as well as +1 in the production tab, indicating Hero is not particularly all in with this. He just jumps on everything. The Zerglings are going to get us around. I'm not sure if that was the call. Hero commits to it, slicing through the Zerglings quite quickly, though the Adept numbers are thinning out. And gets to the natural. Even 2 Adepts can be a deadly number, as Protoss themselves know from the Black Mirror of a matchup they have. A depth shade into the main. The real kicker here of everything is how much you have to limit your own drone count, let alone how many drones the Adepts have killed. But how your own drone count gets limited by the unit production. And the fact the Queens are very much a part of the fight and aren't always injecting. So Serral, despite being able to deal with this Adept attack, still finds himself on kind of a mediocre economy. Hero, I'm sure, knows that he's hard-walled off with a pylon, since Protoss don't have a more temporary door. War Prism gonna help out. 4 Ravagers. Enough to take out the proxy pylon. It lasted for 4 or 5 minutes of aggression, give or take here. And things will calm down a bit, if only because neither of them is able to put together a damaging attack at the moment. But Serral, for sure, wants to deny the 3rd Nexus of Hero, which is the next step in the process of not being forced into a 2-base all-in. Whereas Hero wants to limit Serral's economy until that 2-base timing can come together. And this War Prism gonna help out. 3 more drones, 4 more drones. Plus 1 ground weapons, Protoss ground weapons. Clearly going to complete. Roach speed on the way. Serral up to 45 drones and counting. Evolution chamber. Zergling counterattack. Looking to shred the Nexus. And we'll get the cancel. Though scouts out and the Overseer comes in the moment the Dark Shrine finishes, but the War Prism slips into the 3rd. 3 more drones. Serral really struggling to get above that 50 count, which is kind of the baseline for ever really having a 3-base economy. More like 60, but without 50, you might as well be on 2. Hero keeping the pressure on while still building up behind. Serral, being Serral, has managed to keep his drone and army count up high enough that Hero definitely feels pressured right now. He's been delayed for quite a while on the 3rd and is pumping out more units to deal with the impending Ravager Roach attack. I'm surprised we don't see a robotics bay. A single Dark Templar. The Dark Shrine was scouted, but just the threat of DTs can be the most effective thing. The DT, yeah, Serral. I don't know if he had detection or he just saw the shimmer there, but now there's nothing to see at all. Couple more Adepts. Shade in. He just keeps going. These Adepts actually have picked up half a dozen more drones. How many drones have died? 17. 69 Zerglings. Nice enough number, but Serral still gets rid of the proxy gate. He's sitting on 127 to 100 supply, so Hero still has his work cut out for him with a pretty severe lack of splash damage, though going to be falling back on the upgrades. He doesn't have blink or charge, and a contaminate, the tactical goop here. Rarely seen, but I think very important to have at this time. Contaminate will delay the upgrades slightly longer. Those upgrades got a bit of a buff in the most recent patch. Oh, very surprised. Oh, just barely gets out of there. Quite a commitment to the warping. There is no charge. I can't help but think that's a mistake, as Hero is sitting on 600 minerals as well as 300 gas. Not having charge lots, not having blink. Charge lots especially at this stage of the game, just a small charge lot counterattack. Those slow zealots are just a bit of an embarrassment compared to their more speedy brethren. So Hero not having charge at all, or filling in those Twilight Council upgrades, could very well hurt him as time goes on. Yeah, well, Serral, not going to disabuse him of the idea, as a hive is on the way. We got 9 banelings, +1 melee and +2 missile attacks for the Zerg. As Serral, in honestly typical Serral fashion, doesn't try to put together a big deadly timing. A lot of players would have felt pressured to do a counterattack with the Ravager Zergling, especially as Hero was taking his 3rd. But Serral sits back, gets up to 76 drones, a hive, adds upgrades. Looks like Blink did complete. Still no charge in the production temp. Colossi being added in for Hero. I mean, I've been working on it for a while. The War Prism even involved here. I think he set up the battery and cannon with the Prism. But Serral draws attention to the right and rolls in with the Banelings to the left. A classic bait and switch. And 14 probes are the casualties. Not critical damage, but definitely not what you want to repeat here if you're hero. A single Colossus wades through the corrosive bile. War Prism offers some extra micro potential. 5 Immortals are on the field right now. More Stalkers being warped in. Vipers on the way for sale. The most direct counter, especially with no Templar, with no feedback, to be able to take out the energy and potentially the Vipers themselves. Well, Vipers are definitely the counter here, but hero is sitting on 100 army supplies. Got +2 attack, about to finish +1 army. If he can hit before the Vipers actually kick in here, that's a lot of Banelings, sure. But is it enough? Because the force fields are looking good so far. Serral pulls back. Corrosive Bow knocks down the force field. But 4 fully extended Thermal Lance Colossi will be the backstop of this army, roasting through the hatchery. A couple drones go down with it, but Serral able to evacuate. He has 4 more bases. He's even taken that center base. Hero, a bit of urgency here. 55 probes, none in production. Falling back. Immortals buff at the front line. Vipers, though, yanked to the Colossus. Oh, and he saves it with the Prism. What incredible micro out of Hero. But will it save him from the sheer amount of Zerg? Tries to buffer with the Blink Stalkers. Not well known for their hardiness. Tries the micro back. Just a Colossi. Dodges the Biles and then rewarps in. Hero holding it together. He's towing the line right now. The War Prism, a strong gust of wind might be enough, but one of the most insanely well-controlled fights I've ever seen a Protoss player take. It wasn't quite enough to win the game, but I think every single I am confident in saying not a single other Protoss would have come out of that without likely typing GG. Ricky the accidental swarm host has to bow in respect after being created, as Ricky always is in these later games. Serral forced to regroup, but he still has those Vipers, and those... I never really thought of the War Prism as a soft counter. Even using the Locust. I never really thought of the War Prism as a soft counter to the Viper, and I still don't. But it is cool to see in this unique scenario. Problem is, at the end of the day, without Templar, it's still 10 drones down. Serral, his army composition, I'm just kind of used to Serral regrouping and running over armies, but the creep spread is quite limited. The economy is not great. He's down to 60 drones. Hero, oh, come on. Did he miss the... Either he doesn't care, or, even better, well, not even better. No, he doesn't care, I think, is the most exciting option, but he missed the Prism, or... Oh my... Yeah, he definitely forgot charge. There's no way you get this far into the game with this much money you've been sitting in the bank with, and you don't have charge. That's simply not a thing. It's 100-100. It's the cost of Zergling speed. And Zealots have a lot more HP than Zerglings. Those Zealotlings are sometimes the main part of the composition, though not so much against Ravager Baneling. Hero. Oh, nerd chills. Tasteless. After seeing that micro there. While the unit composition might be a bit less than ideal to handle what Serral has, at the same time, though, wow. The Blink Stalkers essentially, get down, Mr. Colossus! Blinking in front to save him from the Banes, and then yanking with the... just... At the same time, though, Hero still struggling in army supply, trying to sneak in. It is just Blink Stalkers, which just do not scale nearly as well as many other units. In fact, most other units, as their single target damage gets outdone by even the simple lowly Zergling. As we see here, Hero forced to recall out. Supply gap widens dramatically. Couple DTs being warped in. There are some overseers. You can see the shadow coming in now. Full energy Vipers involved here. Yanks in an Archon, eats it up with the roaches, the Zerglings. Serral just has so much. Blinding Cloud could be good. Archons morph in. Far too late. Few DTs getting involved. +2 melee completes mid-fight. Baneling still intact, and hero loses his Nexus, and it's looking like maybe more. Shield battery overcharge. Looking to back off. Battery itself goes down. More Stalkers warped in, trying to blink his way out of this one, but at some point you just gotta close your eyes and hope it ends. Serral, game 1. Overruns, though I will say I am incredibly... That fight with the Blink Stalkers, the Blink Colossus, the Blink Stalkers, force fields, but just not enough to really deal with the Zerg head on. Incredible control, but then hero kind of floundered it with the trickle of Stalkers he sent into the other side of the map. A lot of great things for hero there, but they didn't really come together to get him what he wanted. And that means Serral starts out with a 1-game lead. Jimmy, game 2, please. What do you think the people are liking and subscribing for? Not for our filler content as we load the next game, no. But instead, for the best of the best. Thank you for watching. I hope you look forward to more of the IEM Katowice casts throughout the coming weeks here. I plan, if you're watching this somewhat close to the upload, I plan on covering some of the earlier stages of the tournament over the first week or so, and then we'll get into reliving the playoffs later on, because mild avoidance of spoilers. I know a lot of people enjoyed the tournament live, but I like to think I bring something worth watching with the commentary. And I truly, like, I love casting StarCraft, so thank you for watching. Gruzman. This has come out as our... This is the map. This is the one. This map played more than any other by far in the tournament. Almost, essentially nobody has vetoed it of Terran Zerg or Protoss. As I think, while it is relatively easy to attack because there is no ramp up to the natural, the bases are somewhat open, especially the 4th. The rush distance, it's balanced out somewhat by the rush distance. So that means you have a little more time to build up or set up your defenses before attacks or counterattacks can come across the map. And that's why a lot of the time we end up seeing those more drawn out, maxed out, sometimes mining out macro games. Well, I'd love to see one here. That last match, what were we at? 15, 16 minutes. Both players about maxed out, but hero never quite comfortably there compared to Serral, who managed to recover. I'm not sure if the proxy gate was worth it. It felt like it felt okay. I think it more came down to the execution, where there were a couple questionable shades where hero didn't quite get the trades he needed to keep Serral busy. But even then, obviously his control is second to none, and managed to keep Serral's drone count down for so long. But the kind of missing the Twilight upgrades, it happens. Not having charge for like the small counterattacks, getting that contaminate from Serral. I'd love to see it actually used. The simple reason we don't see contaminate more is overseers are easily taken out by like a single Phoenix or Void Ray, or even a few Stalkers. And contaminate costs 125 energy, which is a lot. That is several minutes of buildup, even after you morph an overseer. So it is not a reliable method of delaying your opponent. It's only about 30 seconds of delay as well. Sounds like a lot, but the setup time is costly. Oracle comes in this time around, hero with a more conventional style, what we're used to seeing. Brenda! Well, third queen coming up to try to intercept the Oracle. Doesn't quite get there in time, but overall, taking that much hull damage on the Oracle. The existence of the Oracle is sometimes more valuable than getting any sort of damage, as it is kind of your Swiss Army knife. You have the Pulsar Beam, the damage ability, which is incredibly helpful on defense as well as offense. You got the Stasis Ward, which is a safer version of those same things, really. A little less vulnerable, the Oracle itself, and can make use of some banked energy. And of course, Revelation, which is probably the most relevant ability and the reason why you lean on the Oracle so much early. Well, it's hard to weight it, because the Revelation and the ability to keep track of units and provide detection is something that Protoss, especially Protoss who don't open up with a Robo too early. For once, we see hero getting a relatively early Robo alongside that Twilight, but Revelation is the most reliable method of scouting for Protoss. And that's why, ideally, especially in this matchup, when you have constant things like creep to deal with, having at least one, if not more, oracles is the ideal. And hero has kind of demonstrated that. It's 2 or 3 oracles. We got 3 oracles, the triumvirate here, and then into blink +1. This is the hero build. I think at this point, and well, for a while now, it's been the hero build, as he's revolutionized and shown the value of transitioning into those gateway units instead of a more defensive style, because you do have to keep tabs on the Zerg. You do not want to let them all the way across the map, 80 drones, whatever they want. You're just not going to be able to compete with that. So the oracles will constantly work around the edges, shaving off bits and pieces here while watching for others. And then you build up into the blink stalkers, the +1, which can trade quite cost effectively with a low-tech Zerg who's only on Zerglings or Roaches or maybe a handful of Ravagers. And then that allows you to build up into maybe a 4th Nexus and then add in your splash damage of choice. You like Colossi, which hero's been liking? All right. You like Disruptors? Bit of a gambler, but can respect it. Archons, always a strong one. Occasionally you go with the classic tactic, Storm. But the Blink Stalkers and the Oracles kind of carve the space to get those things. And here we see, once again, Serral sitting back, 66 drones, though, adding more now. Plenty of Queens. The baseline defense in general. Wow. If Serral didn't realize that what was happening before. The Robo Bay upgrading, plus the double Robo right there at the natural. I kind of like the Robos in the natural when you're going Colossus, because you can just step over the top of whatever's blocking the natural. Very small detail, but so many times we see like Disruptors or Immortals either push the unit blocking the wall out of the way, or get stuck behind it, both of which are not helpful to adding things to your army. Oracle slept on. Is that a 7-minute hive? Oh my god. So it's a very hard of the swarm sort of counter. With no Templar, yet Colossi on the field. Vipers are the clear choice. They were perfectly good last game, even though Hero had some very fancy micro with which to try to negate them. But, Stasis, that one gets caught. So a bit of a nerf to Stasis Ward in the last patch. You can now issue commands to units in stasis, and they will follow them when they get out of stasis. Before, you had to wait until the stasis was done before the units could listen to your commands, which does kind of make sense, but it's a little easier to recover from it. Just an aside. Colossus in a prism, headed across the map. Both important parts of this. Serral just slaps down the stasis before it can complete. He's nearly maxed out, adding 10 more Banelings, 2 Vipers completing. First round of Banelings, looking to roll through. 2 Colossi, helping his own out. Stasis on the back line. Protect against flanks and particularly committed attacks. Here comes Hero. +2. Ground weapons completing mid-fight here. The Vipers, is that enough energy for Abduct? Yes! 1. I don't think he has quite enough for the second, but down to 2 Colossi here. Blink Stalkers, buffering for the Colossi. Using that War Prism as best he can. Stasis triggers on one lane. That's not quite what we're looking for here. And the Colossi, more designed to deal with the Lingbane Hydra composition rather than Roach Ravager Bane, which I think Serral is incredibly cognizant of. And it's not going well. Hero, he had confidence stepping up to the plate there. But it looks like he's striking out. As despite, honestly, Serral didn't really do anything to slow him down. Serral just built the army to counter what Hero was doing. Very Zerg reaction. And Hero kind of ground himself down. The Viper's clearly helpful for picking apart those Colossi. And I think without them, this is a lot closer to even. But there are Vipers out well before the 10-minute mark for Serral here. He knew what he wanted, and he rushed right to it. And now we see the Stalkers trying to blink back against Zerglings. There's no real scenario that's going to be an APM or cost-effective endeavor. Hero was not able to establish a fourth base behind this. Oh no, he blinked in. It's a disaster. Saves a Colossus. Such cute micro here, but I'm not convinced that's going to make the difference. The blank Stalker Colossus just ain't it here, it seems, as Serral runs through just a concise version of the previous game. Looks like Serral's kind of got his number now. And with it, I think Hero's going to be left calling GG. Yep, Serral might not die. I mean, Hero might not die this exact moment. But it's 84 drones to 45 probes. There is no scenario where this unit composition has the comeback potential that Hero needs. Serral, GGWP from Hero. Not the pitched battle, not the back and forth series maybe we were hoping for. But Serral clearly knew how to counter that. And Hero did not have, it seemed, really any options after his first army got crushed. Concise series. Serral showing his command of the Zerg against, well, everything not Zerg. Hero 0-2 against Serral. What do you think? Thank you for watching. Just a kind of an anticlimactic ending. I was trying to come up with something clever to say to cap it all off, but maybe we'll edit in post. Just like Hero should probably edit his style against Serral. Thank you for watching. Jimmy, pick this video out for you. It'd be awesome if you can check it out. Of course, check out Patreon, all the videos, membership. I don't know. We're trying to find new things to promote, but we'll get there. One step at a time. Thank you for watching. I hope it made your day a little bit better. Good luck. Have fun. I'll see you next time. Stay chill.